Initializing monetization. Monetization process successful.
Hello, and welcome back, everyone, to another short episode of Live Team ZMU TV Raw and Uncut, brought to you by your host, Armand Nicholas. So, today we're going to be talking about something fairly interesting. We get a lot of concerns and questions about this. We did a live stream on this topic several weeks back, but we wanted to make sure that we do a short episode to kind of give you the straightforward answers to some of these questions. Number one, we're going to be discussing fair use. What is the Fair Use Act, or what are the fair use guidelines that YouTube and of course the legal system considers when determining if a Fair Use Act was violated? So for many of you, this is going to be of some deep concern because of the fact that you guys use, whether you're a gamer, that you're recording your gaming sessions or videos, right? You want to make sure that you actually abide by certain rules and regulations to ensure that you do not get any form of fair use violation or in an essence, copyright strikes or claims and things like that. Okay. Number two, a lot of you guys out there are actually using soundtracks or music videos on your channels. Okay. Again, the fair use guidelines must be in effect or utilized in your channel to ensure that you avoid any of those issues pertaining to any form of demonetization or claims against your channel. And then of course there's a lot of you guys that actually download TV shows, okay, that you could potentially run into the Fair Use Act guideline violation as well. And then of course, last but not least, there's a lot of you out there that are, I would say this, claiming that you can actually use it's actually fair use on your part because you may have purchased that DVD, you may have purchased that CD, and you have the right to do what you wish with it. Today, we're going to be discussing some of those things that, no, those are clear-cut violations of certain acts, okay? So again, today's topic is fair use, but before we get started, as usual, I would ask that if you haven't done so yet, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell button to ensure that you're notified of any future videos that come out from the channel if it is deemed useful to you. So let's get started. What is the fair use? What is the Fair Use Act? So there's a couple of definitions that we need to understand about the fair use. Okay, fair use is a legal doctrine. This is a legal doctrine that says that you can reuse copyrighted protected materials in a certain way, in a certain circumstance, without getting permission from the copyright owner. So there's a doctrine or a legal doctrine out there that says you can use copyrighted material in a certain way, in a certain circumstance, that you don't need to get permission from the copyright owner, as long as you follow certain rules and guidelines, right? At the end of the day, I'm going to show you some of the concepts as to how you can get away with this properly. All right, keyword properly. You need to do this properly in order to actually not run into any issues. Okay, the Fair Use Act is commonly, this is very, I mean, not just commonly, it's extremely misused. Okay, it's extremely misunderstood, extremely misused in the world of YouTubing. Okay, you can't just put up a clip of someone else's video, okay, or someone else's content and make money from it. Doesn't work that way. That's you're commercializing that product. You're commercializing somebody else's work. Do you honestly believe that they're gonna be okay? Do you honestly believe that that person is gonna be okay that you're using their material, their content, their video to make money off of it? Well, why can't they? Why can't they just make money on their own, right? So you got to use some common sense when it comes to this. So at the end of the day, there are loopholes, right? So there are some myths that are out there, but these are loopholes that you can utilize, and we'll address that in a different video. But bottom line is, you cannot just use somebody else's video or content and try to make money from it. Oh, well, I'm not trying to make money from it. That's not the point. You got to follow some rules and guidelines in order to do it, right? In fact, monetization has nothing to do with it at all. whether you're monetized or not, it has nothing to do with to do with Fair Use Act that you can or cannot use it, right? Monetized or not, that content is not yours. Monetized or not, that is not your product. That is not your material. You have no rights to that. So unless they gave you permission, but without any permission, you have no rights to that. So you literally are stealing someone's content. You're literally stealing somebody else's product when you do it in a way that violates Fair Use Act or Fair Use Guideline, let alone the copyright laws, right? I mean, there's so many different things that you're going to be crossing the lines with, right? So again, moving forward, the Fair Use Act does generally, allow, by following the Fair Use Act or Fair Use Guideline, it actually allows for video creators to use clips, right, or small segments of the video for their own purpose, for commentary purpose. Okay, so these are the things that that allows you to use it in a way that fair use is okay. So this is what you might see when someone downloads like a TV show or a TV news channel on YouTube, right? You'll see that there's a short clip of someone's video. It's not theirs, but they interject themselves in the corner of the screen, or they interject themselves somewhere in the screen that they provide commentary value, they provide educational value, they add on to the video, as far as whether they're adding on comments to agree with the video, or they're adding comments to disagree with the news clip or the video or the TV show. So by adding some significant commentary value or adding some significant educational value to that existing copyrighted work, that's right there. You're starting to be on the safe side of the Fair Use Act, okay? But if you just think that you're gonna download that news clip, if you just think you're gonna download that TV show without adding any significant commentary value or significant educational value added onto it, you're deeply mistaken. You are definitely on the red line at that point, okay? But again, putting up someone else's video, keep this in mind, putting up someone else's video without a huge amount of your own original commentary work or educational value added onto it isn't going to cut it. That's it. It's that simple. It's not going to cut it. It's not allowed. You'll get some really, really bad things to go along with it, okay? The owners of that particular content or that particular video might not be pursuing, every offender right now. I mean, they may not be pursuing every violators that are out there, right? But that doesn't mean that they're not going to. Okay, they may not be pursuing them right now, but later on, as their video or as their content get more popular, they're going to be a little bit more restrictive on who and how those materials can be used, right? So needless to say, just because they're not pursuing those people right now for any legal violation, that doesn't mean that they're not going to later on. And keep in mind, later on, if you're already monetized, can you imagine what that could do to your channel? So you got to be careful with this stuff, okay? At the end of the day, YouTube and Google, there's a way that you could allow there's a way that they allow the Fair Use Act and guidelines to be implemented on their platforms, but you still have to be very, very careful with how you how you take your channel to the next level. Because keep in mind, you work so hard to monetize your channel, but if you do something stupid like this, it could actually destroy your channel. You could get demonetized, you can get some claims on it, and all of a sudden you can get basically no money no money coming out of your channel, because you've got so many restrictions and you got so many claims on your channel that any money that it is making, it's not going to you, it's going to somebody else. Okay, so don't take that risk. At the bottom, that's the bottom line. So at the end of the day, I understand this, with a lot of creators out there, there are those original creators. And keep this in mind, this is my final thought on this particular topic. There are original creators out there, okay, and they make their own video, they make their own content, they make everything on their own, right? So we gotta give them props for having that ingenuity, but at the same time having that determination to make their own stuff, right? And of course they upload it. Now these creators, these 100% creators, they take the time to do this, right? They take the time to actually work on this stuff, and then they basically upload it. Now their goal is to make it big one day, right? But you gotta remember, when they do make it big, and somebody uses their content, of course they're not gonna be happy about it. They're gonna be pissed off, right? Or they want a share of that glory, right? It's the same concept, you guys. When you're using somebody else's content, it's the same thing. Somebody out there put up some large amount of time, large amount of money, large amount of investment into making that content, and for you to just download it and use it on your, to your liking, it's not gonna fly. There are certain rules and regulations. Just because you bought a CD, you think you have the right to actually take those music and download it and basically upload it everywhere and make it like as if it's your own? No, you bought the right to listen to that music in the comfort of your own privacy. You did not, when you bought that CD, you did not buy the right to publicly distribute that everywhere, right? You did not buy the right to do that. So take a DVD, for example. When you bought a DVD, you bought the right to bring that DVD movie home, watch it in the comfort and privacy of your own home, right? But you did not buy the right to take that DVD and take it to, let's say, a giant theater and pop it into the DVD player and then charge people $5 to enter the theater and watch this giant, movie on the big screen, right? You did not buy the right to commercialize it. You did not buy the right to pay for it, or I'm sorry, to have somebody pay to watch it. So again, common sense. Now I understand that in certain countries, that common sense can get really blurred, right? I mean, I remember back in the day when I used to walk the streets in the Philippines, and I kid you not, everywhere was like people handing out DVDs and stuff like that, and it's like, pennies on the dollar, and it's these people that are taking camcorders inside a theater, recording stuff in the theater, and then burning it onto a CD, right? And then of course here's the dummies that basically buy him, and then they take him home and they watch it, and they're like, what the heck is this? I can't even see what's going on here. The picture is sideways, right? But at the end of the day, my point is, depending on what country you're from, that fair use, the copyright laws, they get really blurred because there are a lot of countries out there that overlook this stuff, right? But in the United States, absolutely not. In the UK, absolutely not. Canada, no. They basically follow the fair use guidelines, the copyright guidelines laws, just because, they protect those creators, right? They protect those creators, right? So again, my final thought is, please use some common sense when you're doing your channel. You gotta think about where you're getting the material. If you're actually creating it 100% from the ground up, kudos to you. That's what a creator is, right? But if you're using somebody else's material, please make sure you follow fair use guideline, you follow copyright laws, okay? You follow all of the different guidelines that are out there that will protect you and that will protect your channel, okay? So hopefully, once again, I'm hoping that this video was of some use to you. And of course, my always request from you guys at all times is, if this was of some value to you, if you learned something in this short episode, please go down to the comment area, put it down. Let me know. Make me feel good. If anything, make me feel good that there's some value to these videos towards your growth, towards your process in moving forward in your channel. If there are any topics that you would want to inquire about, please put it down on the comments so that we know that this is of some interest to you. Last but not least, if you have personal experience that you've gone through, that is the power of knowledge. Let others, and including myself, learn from your experience, positive or not. We will want to learn so that we can basically, as a community, help one another move forward. Once again, my name is Armand Nicholas. Thank you for watching another short episode of Live Team ZMU TV, raw and uncut, brought to you by ZMU. See you next time.